tell us what trauma means to you as a psychologist.
Well, it's really an event, sometime something that hits you at one time, or sometime it's a process that continues. That really, I always say it comes in, takes over your entire world, and it creates a sense of victimization
Yeah.
where you now, the trauma's over and you are now continuing in the process. And you either operate as a victim because you believe it, your the way of thinking about yourself has changed. Your confidence and your faith has gone down. And for some people, it hits on a physical level, neurological level,
Mm.
where now you're even dealing with some brain alterations because of the trauma.
Mm. And what does it look like clinically when it presents?
Could it different for different people? Could be acute anxiety. They could go into depression where they just can't move. Um, for some people, it's anger.
Mm.
Some people manage it very well and clandestine behaviors come out.
Mm.
But for most people, it really ties back to the always to that past event.
Yeah.
And and your life changes at that point. So your perception of everything coming into your world changes because the trauma is something that's still directing the way you think and feel and behave.
And I guess most people do understand these days are aware enough to understand that event-based trauma makes sense. PTSD because you're a soldier or you're a first responder or you're in
Right.
a car crash and your life is under threat some way. But what do you mean by process-based sort of
It's interesting. People think when they say trauma, my God, I was I was there when the bullets were flying, and or that's event that hit. But how about a child brought up in a home
right?
where they're being abused routinely, maybe into teenage years,
Hmm.
and then they get out? Well, they've been traumatized all their life. Some of those might be severe, some of those would be very, very subtle, and made to look as though it was normal.
Yeah.
Uh, so now that person is also traumatized.
And I've heard that called various things, developmental trauma or complex PTSD.
Compound, yes. Mhm.
Yeah, what do you prefer? What's a sort of term that you would use? Or
I
does it
think the
not
one
matter?
we're seeing complex use a lot, which
Right.
really is that, that one that has the developmental, as you call it. I like that term also, where it progresses. For me, the best term is progressive trauma, where
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that really defines it. It really says something
Yeah, I
about it.
like that as well. That's a really nice way of saying it. Because it
Yeah,
has that sense which I have, which it isn't a thing. It's an evolving experience.
right.
Because
That's what
as long as the person has that adaptation, they can continue to adapt with it as their personality and life experience grows.
And what happens in both types, but particularly in the progressive trauma, is that an identity is built. This
Yeah,
is who I am.
yeah,
There was a study they did with, of all things, with cats, where one was the victim and the other one was the predator, so to
yeah,
speak. And the victim would always come in and just be doing this. So they were set up and ready. And when the predator saw it, attacked. But the other cat who wasn't coming in like that didn't get attacked. So
yeah.
what happens is the person takes on a victim identity
Mhm.
and assumes that things are going to happen and often doesn't realize they're putting themselves in position to continually be traumatized, or at
And
least
do some
victim.
people adapt in a more sort of aggressive, maybe perpetrator role as
Yeah, protect
trauma
themselves.
victims?
Absolutely.
Right.
And that's where we see, things you might have sexual abuse and we say, well, they become sexual predators.
Yeah.
Well, you've learned it and you've normalized it, but for some people, it's also retribution,
And
misguided.
just so because it's in the news and stuff like this, do you make a distinction between, say, somebody who has compulsive sexual behavior and somebody who's a predator? I guess you do.
You have to, yes.
Yeah.
Compulsive sexual behavior may be pornography and
Right.
sexual intercourse, those things that you seek out that are things that are accepted versus the predators that are hurting people. There oftentimes are, in their definition is abuse, is anger, is to hurt someone.
So abuse of power is always what abuse is.
Always.
Control,
Mhm.
manipulation, power,
Correct.
domination. Whereas
Mhm.
I guess sort of compulsive sexual behavior is, if you like, the everyday sort of consensual
Most of
type
the
of
time.
sexual
Yeah.
behavior, that's
Yep.
in extreme.
Yeah. Most of the time. Yeah. I mean, there's always overlaps on all those, but yeah.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And sort of predators, of course, are in the news. We see them in positions of power at the moment, which is quite disturbing, really.
Mm. Yes.
The wrong type of image we want to be giving out at the moment.